You're listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
Yes, we're going to welcome y'all to Leopard Field over here in Lorena, Texas. It's Jeremy Sunday with Freddie Greer, Greer Media Time, bringing you the 30-minute pregame warm-up before the game starts tonight between the Lorena Leopards and the Mexia Black Cats. We want to thank y'all for listening in. We just got through talking to one of the all-time Black Cat beat writers. Mr. Bob Wright was up here, and it was really good to talk to him and just rehash some of the past that I had when I played ball. And my son Andrew's up here with us this evening, and Bob was talking to him about it. Andrew come back this year, and he's a Black Cat now, and I'm a proud daddy that's going to get to see my son dressed in the black and red and white next week. When playoffs start up, they're going to move some of the JV up, and they'll work as a scout team for the varsity. But this game tonight is really doesn't – we're not going to say it doesn't matter, but this is one of the games that it's not going to change anything in district. Our district's decided as the 1 and 2 teams. Conley is going to go as district champs, and they're going to go seeded number 1. Mexia is going to go seeded number 2. Is when they beat Salado last week, that was secured their number 2 spot. And tonight, Salado's traveling to Fairfield to decide who's going to go 3 and 4. Those two teams know they're in the playoffs, but they're trying to decide who's going to go 3 and who's going to go 4. So here Mexia being in Lorena tonight, the biggest thing Mexia wants to come out of this game, Freddie, is they want to come out without any injuries at all. They're going to be playing next week in Cedar Hill, from what I understand, and it's either going to be against the Bullard ISD or Canton ISD is what I believe, and they said either the game will be on Thursday night or Friday night. So this week on Wednesday, we'll be bringing you the coaches show and talking with the players and the prediction show from Joe Fridays. And then on Thursday or Friday, we'll be bringing you Black Cat football playoff style, as the Black Cats have once again made the playoffs this year after being off a year last year. And they're going to have one game guaranteed, and by the looks of it, the way they've been playing, they can go as far as they want to this year. Well, we're going to be here in the visitor side press box beside the Mexia coaches up here, as Lorena is having senior night right now, as they've got their band students, their cheerleaders, and all lined up on the home side to honor their seniors, as this is the last night they'll be on the Leopard Field as a Lorena Leopard, and that's always an honor for the seniors to be honored that night. That's their last time that they'll ever be on that field. And, of course, you'll see lots of mom and dads, as tonight is cold up here. We're lucky we got to get in the press box, but the flags are blowing from the north. And this field is one of the fields that lays north and south, like we talked from Robinson a couple of weeks ago. And the wind's going to be blowing out of the north tonight, so when the teams are going from right to left, they'll pretty much be throwing with the wind behind them. And when they're going left to right, they'll be running into the wind. So, we're going to get ready. Up here in the press box, we're going to go to a sponsor break, and we will be back with some Black Cat football in just a moment.
Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays. CS Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
I want to, as we're back here at Lorena Field, it's at Lorena Field, Lorena Leopard Field. It's the Mexia Black Cats visiting the Leopards tonight in District 8, Division 4A2. They are going to play tonight here at Leopard Field. And I want to say a big shout-out to our sponsors, Mookie's Barbecue, Napa, Joe Fridays, Woodman Life with Jeremy Sunday. Who am I missing? With Greer Time Media, Greer Time Detail. We're always looking to add on more sponsors. As it's 150, and we'll be mentioning your name during the basketball games, as we'll be doing those live in baseball this year. So anybody would like to add their business or their family to this, we sure would give you a shout out. I'd like to say thank you to I want to say a big shout out to Forest Glade Baptist Church. It's the church I go to, and we're real big into helping the boys and helping the school and the athletic program as much as we want to. We had cooked for the boys last week, and they come out and had a big week. And our preacher's James Dockler. He does a little pregame stuff with the boys before the games. So we're really involved in the Mexia ISD sports and athletics and school. As we sit here and count down, we got 20 minutes till the game starts, and there's some pretty big ball games in the area. As I was saying, Salato's traveling to Fairfield. Freddie, what do you think about that game? You think Salato's going to go into Eagle Land and get the win, or you think Fairfield will take home court and go as number 3 in the district?
I think Fairfield will take home court and go number 3 in the district.
Yeah, that's a pretty long drive. You know, we were talking about Salato coming to Mexia being an hour-and-a-half drive. Well, on a bus, they have to go to Fairfield. That's another 30 to 45-minute drive for them. So that's good. That put them leaving real early from school.
Yeah.
They'll be getting home real late tonight. And, I mean, the one good thing they know going home is, hey, I'm in the playoffs no matter what. So
that is true.
It'll just decide whether they go 3 or 4. And the way that works out for y'all out there listening, the number 1 team will play the number 4 team from the district that they pair them up to. The 2 team will play the 3 team. And then the second from the other will play the 3rd from each district. So it's just they swap them. So your 4 will play your 1, your 2 will play your 3, and that'll decide who goes. And then the winners of that will decide who goes to the next round. We like for all y'all to just thank you for listening in, and we, like I said, we just bring some pregame to you. There's some other games around the district tonight, and look up and see who else is playing. I know we keep you postponed throughout the game of the scores, but let's see who's playing around the area this week. I want to say La Vega is playing Gatesville this week, and Brownwood is visiting China Spring. That's right, Gatesville is traveling to La Vega. West will be traveling to Tig, and that's going to decide who's going to go 3 and 4 in their district. Whitney's going to Grosback, and there's nothing to decide there, huh, Freddie?
Yeah, I got Grosback winning that.
Would you say 50-0?
50-0.
All right. I'll hold you to that. Willis Point is traveling to Rusk. Of course, Mexia's traveled here to Lorena. Conley's traveling to Robinson. Fairfield is actually traveling to Salado. Salado's not traveling to Fairfield this week. So Fairfield's traveling to Salado. Maypearl's traveling to Grandview. Franklin's traveling to Crockett. Wortham is traveling to Dawson. March traveling to Frost. Meridian is traveling to Hubbard. Milford is traveling to Avalon. And Penelope will be traveling to Coolidge tonight. And I just noticed that Brownwood has started against China Spring tonight. They start at 7 o'clock, and it's 0-0 in the first quarter. And Gatesville and La Vega was just fixing to start. So that'll be your area games around here. Many games are just the final week of the district. Most districts have been decided. At least they know what 4 teams are going. Tonight's just going to be deciding in which order they go in. As we wrap up this 2019 district around the state of Texas, the crowds are starting to get here, and it's going to be a cold one. They're having everybody's going to have to be wrapped up in their coats tonight, as this game is being played at about 38 degrees, and the wind's blowing about 15 to 20 miles out of the north. So it's going to be pretty cool down there on the field tonight. Well, we got 16 minutes left before the kickoff of the final district game between Lorena and Mexia. This past week, we had a special, and we had a couple of Black Cats out. It was Lamarian Miller and A.K. Medlock. And then we got to talk with Coach Maddox, and that was pretty interesting. It was neat to talk to those guys. Eric's being a senior, being his last year, he talked a little bit about how important it was to him and all the hard work that he had put in. And Lamarian's a starting safety. AK's a starting defensive tackle. But just they talked about what was important to them. And the biggest thing that came out, just like last week when we had talked to the other 3, was the camaraderie of the team. The team this year has banded together as brothers, and they are playing for one another, and that's all they talked about was playing for their brothers. They wanted to play for one another, and that's when you know you have something special in the locker room. As I've been in many locker rooms, and when you get a close-knit locker room and everybody's playing for the person beside them instead of themselves, that's when special things happen. And Wallace and I had talked all year long about how you could just tell there was something different with this Black Cat team than in some of the years past. Not saying they were any more talented, because we've had a lot of talented teams. It was just the way they carried themselves and the way they were down on the field interacting with one another is what we were talking about, because there's been some talented teams come through in years and did some great things. But this team has just gone about their business a little bit different and has really brought some nice things. The electricity that they bring on the sidelines just been amazing this year, Freddie. We sitting up here getting ready, getting the film ready, getting the sponsorship stuff ready. As again I said earlier, if anybody'd like to sponsor their family, we want to say a big shout out to the Black Cats during the games, or they want to put their business out there on the air, contact Freddie or Jeremy, and we'll sure get you a spot on here. And like we were talking about, it's only $150 for the whole year. A lot of times it's $150 for a month. We're not doing that. We're doing $150 for the whole year. So you pay $150 one time, and then we'll mention you over the air every Tuesday and Friday during basketball season, and some Saturdays, and then some every Tuesday, Friday, and some Saturdays for baseball and basketball. And, of course, football games, we're playing either Thursday, Friday, or Saturdays the rest of the year. But we got many of the fans are pulling in right now. Seats are starting to fill up. And the hot chocolate is being broken out tonight in the stadium. Well, we're going to go to a sponsor break, and we'll listen to a little bit of music, and we'll be back here for the Black Cat football team playing the Lorena Leopards.
SDS Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
And we're back here at Lorena Leopard Field, and we've been joined in the box by Wallace High as he does play-by-play with us. Is brought to you by Jeremy Sunday, Wallace High, and Freddie does the camera and edits everything. Wallace, it's cold. And when it gets cold, you know it's football season.
Yeah, we say it every week. This is what we call real football weather over down here in Texas, where it's not 90 or 100. It's about a brisk 47, 48, 48, a good little stiff wind. And you can see where there was some precipitation on the field from the last couple days. But, there's nothing like playing football in November. So we're going to get to see a good one, I believe, tonight out of the Cats and the Leopards.
Yeah, this time of the season is usually when you're getting ready to take off and go deer hunting and spend the weekend off down there in the woods. But the Black Cats just keep winning this year. So we're going to keep traveling on Friday nights and playing football and then having just a half a weekend down in the woods.
Yeah, all I can say is I hope we keep getting spots up in the boxes.
Yes.
Because it's just going to keep getting colder and colder the rest of the year.
Yes, you're totally correct on that one. Freddie's from Groves back as we talk every week, and I asked him, Freddie, did you talk to him? No, we got a spot. And I told Andrew tonight he's coming. I said, son, you got to grab some freaking pants. And he said, Daddy, why? I said, because Freddie said we're in the box, but there's been a couple of games we get there this year and we're outside. And tonight's not one of the nights that you want to be outside.
No, and I actually came over last night for the junior high games, and it was worse than this. It was colder. It was raining. And the wind was higher. I called Freddie after the game. I said, Freddie, I don't care what you have to do, man, but we got to get there and make sure we get us a spot inside.
I'm glad we got here because now we look across to the home side, and every one of their boxes are full. So if we hadn't got this little spot, we'd be sitting up there on top, and we'd be frozen popsicles before it was all said and done. But you're right. Last night, I'm gonna tell you what I did, Wallace. Andrew was playing JV ball, and I was over visiting with a friend of mine. And I looked up, and it was 6 o'clock, which she lived right by the field. And I said, let me get over here to the game. I pull up, and it just drops out. And I'm like, what do I want to do? So I pulled down there on the visitor side on the fence, and I had the truck cranked, and I just sat there and watched the game from inside the cab where the heater was going.
Yeah, I know over here some of the parents, they were taking turns running back and forth to the cars to sit in and try to warm up. But luckily, it's not as cold tonight, and it's not raining, which is even better for us. So,
well, I want to tell you before you got here, we had an honor up here. Bob Wright come up in the box with us, and we visited with Bob for about 15 minutes. And I think he's going to join us at halftime. We're just going to ask him some questions about back when we played. And I'm going to tell you what, that man is still sharp on some Black Cat football. He remembered the year I played. He remembered the coach I was playing for. So,
he's probably one of the better ones to ask about any of the Black Cat history because he was the sports writer and editor for the Mexia Daily News for I can't even tell you how many years. So if anybody knows, Bob probably knows if he can remember it. He's probably forgotten more stuff than most of us know.
Sure. He's forgotten more than we'll ever know. But yeah, the crowd's getting a little bit larger, and the Black Cat, they just got through singing the alma mater for the Black Cats, and Lorena's getting ready to bring their football team out, and they're going to sing their school song. And we got about 6 minutes before we're going to buckle it up and kick the ball off and have some Black Cat and Leopard football out on the field.
Yeah.
Some of the keys tonight, though, as I was talking about in the pregame, Wallace, is as we talked a couple of weeks ago when we were in Robinson, Mexia's that odd field that runs east and west. So when you have the north and south wind, it really doesn't bother the Mexia field as bad. But Lorena field is north to south, and the wind's pretty good, pretty strong out of the north. So when the ball's behind people, when the teams are moving right to left on this field, which is right, moving left, they're going south. They're going to be throwing the ball quite a bit, and when they're moving the ball north, the wind's going to be in their face.
Yeah, and last night one of the things I noticed was the wind was higher, significantly higher last night. However, just looking at the flags across the field, it's blowing pretty good tonight. Even on kickoffs, on passes, when they were going, like you said, going towards the right, which is into the north wind, the ball was just hitting the wall and falling out of the air. And so even though the wind's not blowing quite as hard tonight, you expect that the wind's still going to play a part in some of those plays that are going that direction.
Well, Mexia, we've seen, they can throw the ball when they want to, but Mexia is the pounding ground. They're going to hit you out wide. They're going to hit you up the middle. They're going to give you a heavy dose of Wiley and Jones, and then Proctor's going to keep it himself sometimes. And as we've talked about it many times, when Proctor gets an open field, he's just electrifying.
Yeah, he's a great athlete, and when you have running backs in the backfield as good as Wiley and Jones have been, and you have to take precedent to them running the ball, and then you also have to be aware of the quarterback being able to pull it and run itself. It's just an extra threat that Mexia has that some teams aren't as blessed to be able to put out on the field. So it's going to be fun and interesting to see how Mexia utilizes all of them tonight and going forth. Just watching them down there warming up. Mexia's still out. They're still stretching, getting loose. Lorena, they've gone in, looks like. Oh, here they come as they get ready to enter their tunnel before they come out onto the field. And Mexia's going into the end zone to get ready to go into the tunnel. So we're going to be getting started here pretty quick. We're going to take a quick timeout, and we'll be back right before kickoff. All right, and as we come back here to Leopard Field, the teams have both entered the field. They're going to get set for the captains to move out to midfield for the coin toss, and then we're going to be able to hear the national anthem right before the opening kickoff. So as we're looking down onto the field, they're going to do the national anthem first. So we're gonna take a break, and we'll let y'all enjoy the anthem as we do. All right. So we're going to get to action here. The captains are now meeting the officials at midfield, and we're going to get them moving out for the coin flip. Looks like tonight we'll have our captains be number 13, Jaden Proctor, 14, Evan Harrison, 70, Eric Metlock, and 11, J.B. Busby.
Your honorary tonight is going to be seniors as well, and it's going to be Cooper, Deichler, Scott, and Luna. As the boys are meeting at midfield right now and just shook hands, the referees are explaining everything to them. And the coin has been flipped. And looks like Mexia has won the toss and has deferred to the second half as Lorena will be receiving the opening kickoff. So Lorena will be receiving the ball on the south end and be going into the wind in the first quarter. And Mexia will be kicking from the north end with the wind behind their back in the first quarter. Well, Wallace, the team looks pretty hyped up once again on the sidelines. That's one thing we had talked about Wednesday night in the coaches show was all the electricity that this team brings to the game before, middle, and at the end.
Yeah, with them getting Mexia being able to kick off first and putting Lorena choosing to go into the wind first, Mejia's going to get a chance to send that defense out that we talk about week in and week out to try to set the tone for the game, and stop Lorena's offense.
Well, it will be Martinez to kick this off to get it started, as he has mostly kicked the what you would call the
high
pooch kick, bell ringer kick.
And Mexia will be clad tonight in their white helmets, gray jerseys, white pants. Lorena's in black helmets, red jerseys, and red pants. And we'll get the high kick from Martinez.
And he drops the ball and recovers it on his own 32-yard line, as that's number 22 for the Lorena Leopards.
And that time that was Molina for the Black Cats who flew down. I believe that. I'm sorry, that's number 85 for the Black Cats, who flew down the field and was right on top of him when he dropped it. And fortunately for the Leopards, that ball hit the turf and bounced straight back up into his stomach, and he was able to fall down on it.
That would be Ariel Pimentel. Well, as the Black Cats come up, it's their normal starting defensive line. Scott, Medlock, Connor McNeil.
Snap back to the quarterback, throws a quick
throw to
out
number
pass.
22 for the Lorena Leopards, and he's going to have about 12 yards down the right side, enough for a Leopard first down. And Wallace, that's one thing I was told about Lorena was they're not going to wait, and like Salado did last week, on the clock to come down. They're going to get their play, and they're trying to go up and down the field.
Yeah, they move fast. They're
the quarterback's
by himself. He's going to hand it off to 22 coming around the edge, and he's met in the backfield.
Anywhere. That was Prince Banks on the outside, and he cut him back into Dawson Scott, just wrapped him up and took him to the ground for about a yard loss there.
Right, and so far we've seen them running an empty backfield and snapping it and trying to move their players around, throwing the ball out, seeing if they can spread out the Mexia defense. But one thing we know is that the Mexia defense is fast, and they're going to fly to the ball.
So we got an empty backfield, snap back to the quarterback, number 9. He's just going to catch an out route to number 22, and it's going to be a missed tackle there, but it's going to be enough for a Leopard first down.
Right, he picks up about 12 or 13 yards on that play again, and that was just that out route again to number 22, and it looks like Mexia defender had him squared away, and then he just missed the tackle, and he was able to cut it upfield.
So Lorena comes back to the line. They have trips to the top and twins down here to the bottom. Empty backfield with the quarterback. Bring a man in motion, and they're going to act like they're going to hand off.
It.
And he
he slips a tackle.
And that will be that would be Big AK and Wright bringing him down about the 38-yard line.
And he picked up about 4 or 5
Looked
yards.
like he was down to dead to rights in the backfield, and next thing you know, he just bounced off one and took off and gained about a good 5 yards on first down. As they're already back up to the line of scrimmage, and
he's
it's
going
just
to
be a
quarterback draw.
sneak, and he's going to be enough for a first down at about the
30-yard line, the Mexia 30. So
Lorena's
they're going to
just
mark it at
marching
the
down
29,
the
and right now Lorena's being able to move the ball down the field. Mexia's going to have to figure out what they're doing on offense and to be able to combat it and stop them. We've seen it time and time again, teams being able to move the ball a little bit, but Mexia being able to stand up and the defense keep them out of the end zone. We're going to see if they're able to do it here as we get the empty backfield again. Snaps back to the quarterback. He looks right.
And that's Scott.
And
That's
Dawson
right
Scott
on him.
and
he's got him
pulling
wrapped
down.
up.
And that's going to be intentional grounding.
Got to be intentional grounding because that ball did not get back to the line of scrimmage.
It didn't get to the line of scrimmage, and there was not a receiver anywhere near that pass. The closest receiver
there the flag lays on the ground, and it's going to be intentional grounding.
So that'll be a spot foul and loss of down. You know, the closest receiver on that play, Jeremy, on that side of the field was about between the 5 and 10 yard line going towards the end zone when he threw it, and he threw that ball behind the line of scrimmage over there. So
I think if he would have got it past the line of scrimmage, they really wouldn't have talked much about it.
Right, because he did get outside of the tackle box.
But Big Dawson had him in the backfield, dead to rights, and he just threw the ball away to keep from being tackled. So now it's 2nd and 25, and he's going to hand off.
22, and he's drugged down.
That's the one thing you're not going to do against Mexia. Very, very successful over the course of the game is you're not going to line up and run right at them up the middle.
And that time, that was Jacob Allen on that stop, and we saw Jacob be able to have a great game last week. And that time he read that play and shot in the backfield and brought him down.
Last week he lined up as a linebacker and had like 17 or 18 tackles. And you look out there tonight, and now he's back playing defensive tackle.
Versatility.
So Lorena comes to line with trips to the bottom, one to the top, and they've got a running back in the backfield.
A snap and a drop back by the quarterback. And he's got time.
Right
he throws it down the middle. Oh!
And it's a drop ball. It went right through Lamar and Miller's hands and hit number 10 in the hands, and it was just finally hit the ground.
Right. That time, that ball had a chance to be intercepted, then caught, and then it just found its way down to the turf. You know, that's one of those plays where on the Mexia side, you jump to cheer, and then you go, oh, and then you go, yay. And if you're on the Lorena side, you're going, oh, then you're breathing out as well.
Well, Lorena had an awesome drive going, and that penalty got them behind the chain, so now they're up to punt. And Holdman's back, and it looked like
it's going to be a
Mexia,
low line. Maybe got a hand on it. So low, and Holman didn't have a chance to return it, and it's going to be killed at the 5-yard line.
It looked like if somebody would have laid out right there, they might have got a block punt to start the game out with. But
right. I'm not sure if that was just that ball was kicked that low in the line drive or if somebody actually got a finger on it or something, but it came off kind of awkward off of the punter's foot, but it took a great Lorena bounce and rolled down to the 5-yard line.
Well, Mexia's going to come out, and they're going to start with Jones and Wiley out with Proctor in the backfield with twins to the bottom, which will be Harrison and Holdman, and it looks like Clark is up top. From their own 5-yard line, they're going to hand it off to Wiley, and he's just going to run into the line of scrimmage, and there's not much going there for him.
No, he gets back to about the line of scrimmage, maybe even lost a foot or two. So it'll bring up 2nd and a long 10.
The one thing right now is there's not many plays that you can call right now because you're so backed up in the end zone is you can't have a mistake right here to start the game out in your own end zone. So we got a snap back, and it's going to be a handoff to Jones up the middle, and he's just corralled at about the line of scrimmage. He might have picked up about a yard. And it'll be bring up a Black Cat 3rd down and about 9, maybe a long 10.
Looks like Mexia's going to make some substitutions, bring in Banks. Looks like we'll have trips down to the bottom of the field. Single receiver to the top.
As Wiley is still in there, and he's gonna go to the top.
And then you'll see. So we'll have twins at the top, trips at the bottom, empty backfield. Wiley in motion. Snap.
And that's going to be Proctor
Proctor
running up the
keeps it.
middle, and he's going to break a couple of, but he's going to be shy of a first down by a couple of yards.
Yeah, he picked up about 7 on that run.
That is going to get them, though, plenty of
room to punt the ball.
Room to punt the ball for Banks, and Banks has just got a crushing leg. So,
yeah, with the wind at his back, if he can get a hold to one here and flip the field, that would be great.
We've
for the
seen him and
Blackcats.
Robinson do that, flip the field like this. We were on about the 20-yard line, and he come out and punted it down to inside the 20 of Robinson's side. So we know he has the leg when he has the wind to his back. So it'll be a snap back to Prince. And
it goes out the back of the end.
And that'll be a safety for the Lorena Leopards to start out the first quarter scoring.
Yeah, and that ball never got up off the ground, and it just slid across the ground and past Banks and out of the back of the end zone. And that's a play that you don't want to have if you're Mexia. And what we were just talking about, what you're worried about when you get pinned back close to your own goal line. So, you know, we talked about it before the game, Jeremy. You can see the precipitation down on the field. And so I'm sure that ball gets wet, and those deep snappers, the centers, the quarterbacks, running backs, anybody handling that ball, they're going to have to be aware of that and make sure they're taking extra precautions to keep a good grip on the ball when they are handling it.
So now with that safety, Mexia has a choice from their own 20-yard line on whether they're going to punt this ball or whether they're going to kick off. And it looks like Mejia's chose to kick the ball on this turn. So that's one thing in football. You don't see too many safeties to start out a game.
No. You know, and it gives you that awkward 2-0 score on the board with 6:57 left in the first quarter. So now Mexia will kick off to Lorena again and try to stop them.
So this will be Martinez back to kick, as Lorena will be receiving a ball from the left to the right.
Oh, and he drives
it deep. He just drives this ball deep as Lorena catches it, and they're running up the side, and he is hammered, but he stays on his feet.
And then he's hammered again on the sideline. And that ball's going to be spotted right about midfield.
And that was Jaleel Wright. No. Regarion Hicks that hit him the first time. Number 8, Regarion Hicks, that just –
He hit him so hard that he folded him up, and he landed on top of Hicks and then stayed on his feet. And then he got about another 3 yards, and then Miller came and just finished him off over on the sideline.
Yeah, he didn't have a choice on the second one. He pretty much went out of bounds by about 3 yards. So as Lorena comes back to the line of scrimmage, they have twins to the top. They have one down here to the bottom, and they have 2 running backs with the quarterback now. Snap back, and they're just going to hand off.
And he's buried right at the line of scrimmage.
That's Medlock once again taking them down at the line of scrimmage.
You know, and 45 that just ran that ball for Lorena is a pretty stout young man, but he met A.K. Medlock, and A.K. said, I don't care how stout you are, you're not going nowhere.
Well, now Lorena comes back to the line of scrimmage, twins to the top, one to the bottom, 2 running backs, and they look back over to the coaches to get another play call in. As number 9 comes to the line of scrimmage and gives the call. This is going to be a snap back, and they're just going to run an option. And he's hit. And that is, once again, Medlock in there.
You know, and on that play, you saw the quarterback choose to keep that ball instead of pitching it or giving it up. And he took a big hit as he came across the line of scrimmage.
That was Busby and Medlock on that. But Mexia had it strung out pretty good, so if he would have pitched it to the running back, they would have probably lost yardage on that. So that was a good job by the defense, and brings up a 3rd and about 6 here with no backs in the backfield, just a straight drop. And
it'll be a pass out
to number 10, and that'll be enough for a Leopard first down at the Mexia 38-yard line.
Yeah, he picked up about 9 yards on that pass play, and the receiver was able to haul it in and get the first down.
They come back to the line of scrimmage, have trips down here to the bottom, twins to the right, and it's just going to be a quarterback in the backfield, and he's straight drop back.
Oh, and that ball was knocked down by Big Dawson Scott, was able to get the blocker off of him and get his hands up and tip that ball at the line of scrimmage.
They chop blocked him trying to take him to the ground, but he was quick enough to get it to his feet, and he knew he couldn't get to the quarterback, so he just got his big paws up in there and put him on the ball. So now Lorena will come back to the line of scrimmage with trips to the bottom and twins to the top and a quarterback in the backfield. Just a straight drop.
Oh,
and he's going to be
buried,
sacked.
and that's Dawson Scott. As that time, it looked like big Connor McNeil and Connor came from the middle. Dawson was coming off the edge, and when the quarterback tried, no, that was A.K. Metlock. Once AK pushed the quarterback to the side, Dawson just wrapped him up and drug him down.
And that's going to bring up a 3rd and 15 for the Lorena Leopards here with trips to the bottom and twins to the top with just a quarterback in the backfield. And that should be a penalty.
Yeah, that should have been and now we got it from the side judge on the down on our sideline.
The quarterback had taken a couple of steps back. He was expecting the snap to come back, and it never came back. So finally the line judge down here on the Mexia side had an earful from the coaches and finally said, you know what, I'll go ahead and throw the flag.
It's going to bring up 3rd and 20 here. So
we'll have trips to the bottom once again and twins to the top for the Leopards. 3rd and 20 as Mexia, they're setting up a
screen.
A screen,
and
he's going to be hammered.
And Prince snuffed that screen out from the very beginning and was able to hold up the receiver, and then
I'm starting to see a little bit different toward this game. Mexia is playing quite a bit of boys, but 2 ways here.
Yeah, and just looking at what we've talked about it a lot this year, Jeremy, and Lorena's running kind of that offense we're used to seeing nowadays, that spread them out, up tempo, try to hit you quick offense.
Another
that's a punt
kick
away
off to the side, but they're going to take a Lorena bounce.
And again, that ball looked like it may have been going pretty good, and then the wind just curved it and knocked it down.
So Mexia will start their 2nd drive of the night on their own 17, which is a lot better than on their own 5.
Right. And we're talking about playing guys both ways, and when you have these games that are up tempo and you're moving around so much, and the weather's not all that great, it seems like they know that they're going to have to play a few more players.
Well, Mexia comes out, and they're going to have a man up top and a man down here at the bottom with a tight end. And a man in the backfield is going to be a handoff to Jones, and Jones is up the middle for a good 8-9-yard run here. And he picks up enough for a Black Cat first down on that play.
Yeah, at the end of the run, looks like he ended up with about 12 yards on that one. He hit and put his shoulders down into the defender and turned his back and then just drove his legs back for about another 3 yards to make sure he got that first down.
A referee timeout as somebody lost
something.
It looked like a hand warmer for a wide receiver or tight end maybe. As Mexia has a tight end in now, that's Deichler, and Holdman and Holm are wide receivers. It's going to be a handoff to Wiley, and they're just going to hit him in the backfield. That's about the only way you're going to take Wiley down is you can get him before he gets going, because once he gets going, he's tough.
Right, and just looking at it, there were 3 guys right around Wiley as soon as he got the ball. So, with the damage that Wiley's been able to do throughout the season, you know that they're going to be keying on him. And so, last week we saw a great thing of Mexia spreading around and other guys really stepping up. And we'll see if we get the same thing tonight.
Well, we got twins to the top. That'll be Holman. Of course, Jones and Wiley's on either side of Proctor. And it's just going to be a rollout. And that's Evan Harrison over there. And he's thrown it out to Evan. And Lorena was able to tip that ball away before Evan could get his hands on it.
Yeah, the defensive back just undercut Harrison on that one and was able to lay out and tip the ball. And almost tip it to himself to get an interception. But it did hit the ground and it was incomplete.
Well, that'll give Mexia a 3rd down and 12 now, as we're not used to seeing this. Normally, Mejia's come out and went up and down the field on folks, but Lorena's playing tough right now. It's going to be a handoff it's going to be a fake, and Proctor's got the ball, and he's going to go around the corner, and he stops, and he's going to reverse field and be tackled for probably another yard loss or so.
And that time he was looking for the receiver to break out, but there was just nobody open down the field. And so instead of making a bad play and possibly getting a turnover, he just tucked the ball and got what he could get and then went out of bounds.
Well, as Mexia lines up to punt here, on their last punt, as we noted, it was a bad snap, and They gave up 2 points, but Banks is back to take this snap, and it's a perfect snap, and Banks just smashes it, and it's going to be a fumble.
Oh, and it's on the ground. Ow. Lorena's able to get back on it, and that was a great punt by Banks as it's down at the 45-yard line, and there no return on the kick, but.
Well, in the first quarter, Lorena's had awesome field position and haven't really been able to do anything with it. And Mejia's been backed up. So somehow Mexia needs a turnover or something right here to get field position flipped to where they get it back in there.
And that's going to be big for Mexia. Flip the field because we basically played in the Mexia half of the field the whole first quarter.
Well, Lorena's got twins to the top and to the bottom, and they're just going to hand off. And he's going to pick up about 4 yards here, maybe 5.
He's out across midfield. They're going to place it just outside the 49-yard line of Mexia. And Lorena moves back up to the line of scrimmage quick.
And then we have twins to the top and twins to the bottom and a running back in the backfield. And it's going to be a rollout to the right. And he's just throwing out. And it's knocked away by Wright.
Jaleel Wright broke on that ball and knocked it out of the receiver's hands just as he was trying to haul it in. So that's going to bring up a 3rd down.
What I've noticed here, and they are running out routes nonstop, and I don't know if it's maybe the wind or the way Mejia's playing them, but pretty much I'd say 90% of the throws that the quarterback's made so far has been all out routes.
Right, and I think it might be a combination of both, Jeremy. As we get a snap back to the quarterback.
And he hands off underneath. And that's Big Dawson Scott once again in the backfield.
He and Dravion Cooper met each other at the ball carrier with bad intentions and brung him down to the ground. And they actually lost about 2 yards on that play. So it'll bring up 4th and about 7 yards. And like you were saying, they're not able to throw the ball downfield as much as they'd like with this wind. And then maybe they're thinking that they can run some of those out routes and get in the holes of the Black Hat defense. The punt snaps back. Punts away,
and this better punt.
And Holman's gonna have a chance
to
return
it.
Oh, and he breaks a couple tackles, and he's still running.
And he's gonna have the ball about the 30.
Yeah, that was a good about 15-yard return there for Holman, who again was maybe a man away from breaking and getting a big gain on that one. But the Black Hats will actually start their offensive possession at the 30, which is much better field position than they've had in the first 2 drives.
Some of our scores from around the area right now, Brownwood has come to China Spring and put 30 points on them in the first quarter. And La Vega's put 49 on Gatesville in the first quarter. So some points are being scored in Waco. So Black Hats are back out with running backs on either side. And it's going to be a handoff to Wiley, and he's going to get up the middle for a good 6-7-yard gain.
That was a great job of patience behind his blockers and then just cutting it back when he saw a lane.
Lorena, of course, is up 2-0 here. Robinson's up on Conley 7-6 in the first quarter. Mejia's just going to let the first quarter run out.
Yeah, and
Grandview's up on Maypearl 7-0. Whitney's up on Grosback 7-0. Dawson's leading Wortham 6-0. March 20-0 on Frost. Milford's leading Avalon 24-16. West is, like I says, 14-0 now. West over Tig. As that's some of your local scores from around here this evening.
As we switch sides of the field, we're going to take a quick break and bring you a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back at you.
You're listening to Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch.
All right, and as we're back here in Lorena, it's the beginning of the second quarter, and Mexia trails Lorena 2-0. Mexia will have the ball, snap back to Proctor, hand off to Jones as he goes around the left end and makes
up the left sideline. And he's breaking. He's across the 40, the 30.
And he's still running.
He's still going down.
He's down at the 5-yard line. And that was a great run by Jones as he just took the handoff and hit the left side around the left tackle and bounced it out, and it was just a track race down the sideline. And luckily for Lorena, that safety was able to get enough of an angle to bring him down at the 5 before he got in.
They're going to say he stepped out about the 13. He tight-roped the last 20 yards right there, so from our area, you couldn't really tell. It looked like he went down about the 5, but they're saying he stepped out about the 13. So that's putting Mexia knocking on the door. And it's going to be a handoff to Wiley up the middle.
And he pushes up to about the 10-yard line. So Mexia, starting off this drive, they had their best field position of the night, and one big play from Mexia. And they're, like we talked about earlier, being able to flip the field and get into Lorena territory, and they're down at the 10-yard line now.
So Mexia looks like they're going to have twins. Well, they changed their mind. They were going to have twins down here to the bottom, but they're going through a bunch of signals here. And Holman has gone back into the bunch of the Black Cats with Harrison coming down here to the bottom. And now Holman to go up to the top.
We'll have
Jones and
back
Wiley.
Split of Proctor, tight end to the top. Snap back.
And it's handoff to
Jones. And he dives forward down to about the 7-yard line.
So that'll bring up a 3rd down and about 4 yards for the Black Cats here. Surely this is four down territory.
Yeah, you would think so. With the going into the wind now, down in Lorena territory, you think you have 2 plays and try to get, because you can actually get a 1st down before you get a touchdown here. So you think they're going to try to at least get enough yardage to get a new set of downs here. Stay in the same formation.
It's going to be 2 running backs on either side, and it's just going to be a handoff to Wiley.
No, keeps it, and he's up the middle. He is untouched.
Touchdown, Black Cats.
He sold that fake to Wiley. Everybody went with Wiley, and Proctor just pulled it out of there and just basically brought it into the end zone and untouched.
Well, Mexia look, and they're in their swinging gate right now. Decide what they're going to do, and it looks like they're just going to
bring the kicking unit out.
Go ahead and run into the extra.
And that was a great play by Proctor on that, selling the handoff and then pulling it and getting into the end zone.
He had me fooled because I thought Wiley had the ball around the right end. And
snaps back, ball's down, kicks up, and the kick is good.
That'll bring the score to 7-2. The Black Cats over the Lorena Leopards here in the second quarter with 10 minutes and 20 seconds left. Second quarter. First half.
All right, and we're back here at Lorena Leopard Field as Mexia prepares to kick off to Lorena as they just scored their first touchdown of the game to take the lead in the game 7-2. We'll be kicking from left to right, which will be from south to north into that wind that we get into the game. So we'll see. I don't think they'll go away from the additional bell ringer. That's what we get is a high
and it'll be number 4, and he takes cleanly. And he runs to the middle around to the right side.
And then he's brought down about the 45-yard.
Once again, Lorena will have out field position to start another drive.
And I don't think that bell kick is a bad decision because we see them kind of mishandle some of these kick catches in the quarter. So
Lorena will come out and have the win to their back for the first time in the game. And it looks like they're going to come out with twins to the top, and then they'll have a running back with the quarterback hit. So it'll be quarterback number 9. And
he drops. It is going to be a pass out to the flats to the running.
It's going to be a gain of about 6.
Yeah, and he brought down by the linebacker that time.
As all they did was sneak the running back out to the right side, and everybody went deep. And they threw it to the underneath receiver, and he picked up a good solid 5 to 6 yards on that first
that was
play.
Jabrian Busby there on that tackle. Lorena's back up to the line to the quarterback. He looks.
He's
he has to pull it down.
backfield for about a 4-yard loss.
And that time, that was a host of back in the backfield before he could get the ball out, and it looked like he was going to try to pitch it.
I'd say that was a quarter defense.
Yeah, I think that was 4 of our down linemen, and then Cooper from linebacker spot were there to throw, and when he turned around, he saw nothing but white in his face, and he just tucked the ball and went down.
So that's going to bring 3rd and about 14 here. Lorena comes to the top, comes up with trips to the bottom and 1 to the top, back in the backfield. Snap back, and that's right there around him again.
Oh, Banks gets it, and the ball's on the ground.
Mexia has it.
And Mexia recovers the phone.
And that is how you build position.
And that time you got Dawson Scott coming off of one and Prince Banks on a blitz from the opposite side. And when Dawson got there and grabbed quarterback, tried to shake loose from Prince Banks was right on top and just stripped the ball out as he was quarterback down.
You're starting to see the black cat excitement here on this sideline.
Right, and they're going to get the ball now already in Lorena territory, the 41-yard line. And we're going to see how the able to